Okay, so, Xord. Probably one of the first real stumbling blocks for many new players, including me a few years ago. Hell, even on my second playthrough, this guy still gave me a lot of trouble. And that just made it all the more surprising that no one made an actual guide on how to beat this boss over the years. Guess I'll have to do it myself then. So, this video will be divided in two parts. First I'll be talking about general tips and strategies for this fight, and then I'll be going over every party member in detail and talk about how you should equip them for this fight, give some tips for when you're playing as them, and what you should look out for when the AI controls them. And while I'll be using footage from the definitive edition, everything said here will still work in the original game. Alright, let's get into it. First things first, I recommend that you're at least level 23 for this fight. Not just because of a difference in power, but also because Shulk learns a very important art during that level, Shaker Edge. This art will play a huge role in finishing this fight quickly. This battle has a lot of similarities with the fight with Metalface in Colony 9. You want to use a chain attack, topple him, chip his HP away, and rinse and repeat until he's around 70% HP. Your goal of this battle will be to build up the party gauge as effectively as possible, while keeping your party members alive. When the fight begins, you immediately want to make your party focus on the minions Xord summons. It might seem like they're there to make the battle harder, but believe me, they're just there for you to farm your party gauge. The one you should really look out for is Xord himself. He namely has many attacks that hit in a fan shape in front of him. While playing, I found out that Xord's attacks will always kill Shulk or Sharla when they have around 1200 HP. So if you're controlling Shulk, keep your distance from Reyn and make sure Sharla stays healthy. Alright, now let's move on to the character specific stuff. Starting off with Shulk, the character 95% of you will probably be using during this fight, and the one I recommend using the most. His build is pretty straightforward. Your armor with the highest defense should always go to Reyn, and instead you should try to give Shulk more equipment that have empty slots on them. As to what you should fill these slots with, you can never go wrong with strength up or agility up. And if you want to play it extra safe, you can equip 1 or 2 HP ups on him so that he'll be able to tank a few more hits. Now for the battle part. Here's the most important thing to remember. Don't use Shaker Edge unless it's on Xord. If you waste it on another Mechon, it will take a really long time to recharge. And you don't want that to happen, because it's crucial to ending this fight quickly. Here's why. Chain attacks don't affect your cooldown in any way. So if you just use Shaker Edge in a chain attack, you can use it again right after it ends to further increase the time Xord is vulnerable. If you did it right, you should barely have enough time to follow up with a backslash or Monado Buster to end this fight right away. So to sum it up, when you have built up the chain attack, you want to have Shaker Edge, backslash and your talent arts ready. And you obviously better stand behind Xord. Now, how you control Shulk will ultimately decide how quickly your party gauge will get built up. He namely has 4 arts that can increase it if you get the bonus effects on them. Namely Slit Dash and Air Slash if you hit them from the side, backslash if you hit it from the back, and Monado Buster, which will give you more party gauge for every Mechon you hit with it. If you are going to use Monado Buster, it should be right at the beginning of the fight, since you might need Monado Speed to avoid some attacks later on in the fight. If you have trouble lining up your targets, here's a little trick I used. Make sure there's a Mechon in between Shulk and your targets. This will make sure that you hit at the very least 2 enemies. You also need to be prepared to complete these quick time events called burst affinities, since they fill up the party gauge by a lot. If you didn't know, they can occur when one of your party members got a critical hit, evaded an attack, when one of their own attacks got blocked or missed, or when they're the last man standing. If you want to increase the odds of this happening, you can purposefully not enchant or encourage your party members, since this might force them to activate the third kinds more often. This however will make it much harder for Reyn to maintain the aggro, so choose for yourself whether you want to use this risky strategy or not. Alright, that's everything you need to know about Shulk. Now let's move on to his reliable ally, Reyn. Like I've said before, you want to give him your best armor. Don't look at Ether defense yet. Physical defense is all that matters now. Unlike Shulk, Reyn should have more than 8 arts to choose from now. Every art can work, but I would de-equip guard shifts. It might increase his already high defense, but it also leaves him a sitting duck, unable to get more aggro. It doesn't matter if you're controlling him or not, you want to keep him as far away from your other party members as possible. Not just in this battle, but also in every battle after this. This will decrease the chances of an AoE attack killing Shulk or Sharla. And yeah, that's pretty much it. He's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. And now on to Sharla. For gear, give her a lot of equipment with empty slots, and gems mostly focused around Ether up and HP up for a bit more survivability. As for the battle part, remember that she has to cool down her rifle. If you didn't know, for every art she uses, her talent gauge fills up a little. And when it's full, she will have to cool her rifle down and won't be able to do anything for around 10 seconds. Believe me, there's no worse feeling than to start a chain attack, only to find out Sharla can participate. You can recognize she's cooling down her rifle if you're hearing this sound. If you're seeing her hold her rifle like this, or if these symbols appear next to her portrait. Another good thing to know is that when she says
"Gotta cool off,"
you still have about a second to activate the chain attack, since she won't have started the cool off process right away. Other than that, if you get a vision and are worried it will hit multiple characters, you can technically spend one block of the party gauge to warn her, but I advise not to do that. Instead, try to rely on Shulk's light heal and Monado art, or just pray that Sharla will heal the right person on her own. And that's the guide! Normally I don't really like doing this, but if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, because we're really close to 200 subs at the moment. It would mean the world to me if we could reach 500 by the end of the year. Shameless plug out of the way, if you still have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. That way I or some other good Samaritan can try to help you out. And if you have any other parts of the game you struggled with or want to see a guide about, that being a boss battle or just a game mechanic, feel free to leave that in the comments too. I know this game like the back of my hand, so I'd have no problem making more guides like this. In fact, I might already have one planned for a certain boss that made people pay for their insolence. Anyway, thanks for watching.